Are you frustrated that your partner should understand you better, should know your needs, should be more connected to what's going on inside of you, and he or she isn't? If you're feeling that frustration, we're going to dive into some good stuff, and you're not alone. We're going to get some good stuff out. We're going to dive into some really awesome stuff and try to help this problem. It's pretty common. In fact, it's very common, way too common. And I call it the mind reading syndrome. Your spouse or partner cannot read your mind, nor should they have to. It's not a part of the agreement that they got to be a mind reader in order to be with you. Sorry about that. That's nowhere in writing. Was it a verbal communication that this is going to work only if you can read my mind? We get so caught up and so frustrated. It's easy, guys. No blame on anybody that's frustrated because they feel like they're not being understood. But much of this comes sometimes because we tend to expect partners to read our minds. And it's very real. I bet you all of you can look at this and look at times when, I kind of expected him or her to read my mind, and I really didn't explain it well. I really didn't let them know maybe the details or whatever, but they just, here's what we get into. The problem is we get into, well, you should have just known. How? But that's a common thing. Like, well, you should have just known. Or if you had been in tune with what was going on, you would have just known. And okay, and the partner's taking a bit of a lashing there. Really didn't know, and I was I'm trying to figure it out. Was trying to figure it out, whatever the situation might be. But we throw those things out there like you should have known. You should have picked up on that. But it should have been common sense. It should have been common sense to you that you should have picked up on that. Well, what if he or she didn't? How about if it really mattered, you should have known. You should have known if it really, really mattered to you. You should have had this in the bag and known. Look, I don't care how much something matters to anybody. They can't read your mind. And I'm going to beat this to pieces because it happens way too often. How about, I shouldn't have to tell you. I shouldn't have to tell you that. You should know how I feel. You should know this. I shouldn't have to tell you. Well, not a mind reader. Sorry. We can be really hard on other people, and particularly in a relationship, when we just think they should have read or known or picked up on it, or gee, they don't care about me because they didn't. If you had really cared about me, you would have known this, and if this mattered, blah 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 blah, and the guilt and the shame and all this junk and garbage. And stop it. Stop it. Stop. Please, everybody. We can't read each other's minds. We can't. We're not designed to, and we never will. And there's things we can kind of pick up on here and there. I get it, but sometimes we don't get the whole picture, or these big pieces we're missing. And then the problem is that people get condemned for that. And then guess what happens? The relationship disconnect. There we go. Now we're out here, and this is a battle. You should have known that if it would have mattered. I didn't even know what was going on, but you should have had that. You should. No, I didn't know it. That's not where we want to be. That's not where we want to be. We want to be here, and we only get here by truly communicating. So remember, first of all, number one, we're two different individuals. We are two individuals, completely different. We're different in our upbringing. We're different in our needs, emotional needs, physical needs, mental needs, spiritual needs, whatever. We're different. We're different. We're different in our strengths. We're different in our weaknesses. We're different in our family situations. We're different in our love languages. They're a little different. Sometimes they can be really different. We're different in our styles of communication. We're very, very different is what I'm trying to point out. I hope you can see this, that we're very, very different individuals, and we think differently. We have different opinions, and it's just okay. It's okay to have different opinions. It's okay to see different things, but see it differently. But remember that we're two different individuals. And sometimes we just need to give each other a little bit of tenderness, a little bit of grace, a little bit of space to go, okay, that's all right. Let's talk about this. Let's just talk about it. Let's communicate about this. So the bottom line is here, never assume. And if you ask anybody close to me, including spouse, children, I would say my brothers and sisters, friends, anybody close to me will tell you that never assume. That is the worst thing ever you can do. And for years, because I think I had this beat into me in school a million years ago when the dinosaurs were on the earth. When I was in school, just kidding, it wasn't that long ago, but I'm not that old either. But I had a professor beat this into us, and it really has stayed with me. Never assume. You never assume. His point was get facts, and there's definitive, like for instance, a definitive diagnosis is, you don't assume. You can assume on your own for a minute in your own mind, but then you find out the facts. You find 100% what's going on, but you don't ever assume. In a relationship, never assume. That is rule number 1 or 12 or 6 or something, but it's a rule to me. Never assume, because guess what assuming does? And you guys have probably heard this, nothing new, but pick that word apart and it makes the ASS there out of you and me. It just makes a big bloody mess. That's all. Makes a donkey out of you and me, and that's what assume does. So in a relationship, no assuming. That's a huge rule. Never ever assume. That is against the rules of relationship. Period. End of story. Moving on to emotions. Emotions are not clear communication. We can have all kinds of emotions. We can even be and show emotions around somebody that's close to us, but it's not clear communication. It may be we're kind of communicating a little bit about something, but it's not clear. It's not crystal clear. Sometimes it's really hazy. Sometimes it's more hazy than others, but emotions are not communication. I hate to break anybody's heart by saying that, but for instance, your partner's crying. There's communication there. Okay, there's crying. Okay. But do I know what's going on? Why they're crying? Why? I don't know. I got a little piece of communication there, a little piece of it. Something's probably wrong. But people also cry when something's amazing or great. But we get little bits and pieces. But emotions are not communication. Because I showed emotion does not mean you should have known the rest of the story. So that being said, a partner may notice some emotion, but they have no clue what's going on, and not to be faulted for that. So bottom line here a little bit, talk to each other, tell each other what's wrong. Tell each other what's wrong and ask for understanding and help with your needs. That's simple. I'm going to say that again. Tell each other what's wrong and ask for understanding and help with whatever it is. That's communication 101. That is communicating. That is what we're supposed to do as human beings and really supposed to do as partners. Communicate. Not run around that he should just know this and she should just know that. No, that's just disastrous. That's not connecting. That's just disastrous. Completely disastrous. Love has nothing to do with mind reading. There you have it. Love has nothing to do with mind reading. So stop expecting mind reading and start expecting needs. I'm not going to say that even. Stop expecting mind reading and start expressing needs. Expectation is going to be another video somewhere along the lines. We'll get deep into that, but just start expressing your needs. It's pretty simple. It's not that hard, honestly. So what's the cost? What's the cost of being in the mind reading mode? Well, it costs a lot of things, and I'm just going to mention a few, but there's a lot more I'm going to mention. Anger is one. Mind reading can cause anger, can cause resentment, hard resentment, disconnect, serious big disconnect. It can cause frustration. It can cause disappointment. We can get critical of each other, cause criticism. So ask yourself in your relationship, am I communicating this clearly? And just ask yourself that, am I communicating this really clearly? Because maybe I'm not. And I think I am, but maybe I'm really not. That's something you just ask yourself. It's innocent. And if you are, great. And if you're not, it's okay. And sometimes in communication, you have to repeat yourself. Like sometimes some of us are a little, takes us a minute to get it. Some people I'm sure get it right off the bat, and some people just may take a little bit longer to get it. But know this, that the strongest relationships are not built on great intuition. So the strongest relationships are not built on great intuition. That's not what it's about. The strongest relationships are built on honest conversation. Big difference there. I'll say that again, because this is kind of a big bottom line I'm flying out with. That the strongest relationships are not built on great intuition. Intuition's nice, that's great. It's convenient sometimes, it's nice, but great relationships, strong relationships are not built on great intuition. They're built on just honest conversation. That's what they're built on. When you sit down and have honest conversation in your relationship, you got connection, you got good stuff going on, you're trying to explain to somebody, and it might take a little bit of vulnerability, which we'll talk about later, and some sheer honesty. Good stuff, because they're so connecting. When you can really sit down and express your needs, express your desires, express what's happening, and talk and communicate, great things happen. And ultimately, it just brings nothing but contentment, peace. Get you out of that frustrating zone of, she should just know this, or he should know that because of this. No. Let's connect. Let's talk to each other. Let's make what we say clear to one another, and no mind reading. It's against the rules.